Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a good weekend. Welcome to the Monday Morning Call. Now is the time to, if you've got questions, concerns, things going well, things going poorly, please bring them up. And as always, you can type those in there, but if for people who want to be on these calls live, you can always call in on a phone, and we'd love to have you on to participate. But if you just want to sit and listen, that's fine as well. So I'll keep my eye on the question box, see if anybody has things going on, but otherwise we will go ahead and get started. So my pointer for this week, first of all, is I want to point out that we had an unbelievable call on Friday of the people that were on. We talked about how to get property casualty agents, and we role-played that, and they all agreed that with that time we spent, that they were going to absolutely be able to go back and get property casualty agents to get on board with the property casualty system and refer to them. So, guys, you have those calls available to you. We don't record those calls. Those are live calls where the people call in on the phones. We go back and forth, and everybody that was on the call all said that it was a perfect call to learn not only how to get on their side, but actually to use it in something that's going to bring them in lots more referrals, because they'll be able to go back to the property casualty agents with the skills that they learned. So when we announce those calls, we have those twice a month. Make sure you're going to be on them. There's no better way that you can spend an hour on Friday, okay? So first thing we want to talk about with the get pointer is what's happening to the long-term care rates, guys. What's happening to long-term care rates? Going up, going down, staying the flat? So when you sell long-term care to a client, can you tell them that the up bill is right? So can you just tell the client that it's not going to, whatever you're paying now is never going to go up? No. In fact, Genworth just announced plans a few months ago to raise their long-term care rates by 50%. Could you imagine buying long-term care and then, for whatever it is, and then getting or paying for it for 6, 7, 8, 9 years, and then all of a sudden somebody says, oh, by the way, we're going to raise it 50% next year? How many people can afford to pay a 50% increase in their long-term care rates? So question is, how can we use them? And Genworth is not the only one doing this. Everybody's doing this. So how can we capitalize on that trend? What should we be doing, or how can we capitalize on the trend that long-term care rates going up as much as it is? First of all, what does TRIP do? TRIP protects them against that, right? TRIP protects them against that, right? So that's one way you can do it. And can TRIP rates ever go up? No. They're locked in for life. They're guaranteed for life. How else can you capitalize on the fact that long-term care rates are going up? Write a letter to all your prospects, your warm clients, about this fact, and that you've got ideas for them. So if they're experiencing this, that they should come see you. Now's the time. I mean, anytime there's a major pressure on clients or prospects, that's a great time to be talking to them. And if you don't want to call them up, then send them a letter, because they're going to hear or see a sympathetic ear in you, and they don't know what they're going to do, and they're certainly not going to go back to the guy who sold it to them in the first place. So, and if you did sell it to them in the first place, you better be calling those people. So guys, anytime something comes up that's causing a lot of pressure on your clients, that's a fantastic time to be reaching out to clients and prospects, because that's when people are in flux, when they're thinking about changes. And that's when you start making money. Okay? So any questions on that? Okay, so can we all agree that we're in the commodity business? We all sell the same products. We all are forced by law to sell them at the same prices. We can't put them on sale. We all offer good service, and you can say mine's better, but people aren't going to, you can't go around saying that yours is better service, because there's a catch-22 here. They're not going to find out that your service is better until you prove that yours is better, and you can't prove yours is better until they come on board with you. So we're a commodity. How do you change or fight a commodity war? How do you change your business from being a commodity to being something completely different from everybody else is out there? And you cannot say I'm better. That does not work. Can't say I'm better at IRAs, or I'm better at retirement, or I have better customer service. People do not believe that. Like I said, it's a catch-22. They're not going to believe that you are better until you show them, and you can't show them until they move their money, and they're not going to move their money until you show them. I mean, it's a death spiral, circle. You can't do that. So how do you get around being a commodity? Well, we're not the only business in the commodity business at all. So I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to show you a business, and I want you to guess what kind of business this is. There's a business out in New England, and they have a full-size, a life-size jelly bean sculpture of George Washington on his horse. So they have a life-size jelly bean sculpture of George Washington on his horse. They have a full-blown ice cream parlor in their store. And they also have a trapeze school in their store. What do you think these people sell? What would your guess be in what these people sell? Jelly Bellies, somebody says. What else, guys? So they got a jelly bean sculpture, an ice cream store, and a trapeze school. Flags, ice cream, fun house. It's a furniture store. Jordan's Furniture in New England. And Warren Buffett bought it for $225 million. So why the heck would they have all those other, what does jelly beans, ice cream, or a trapeze school have to do with furniture? Guys, in your town, or even on your TV set, we just got done with Washington's birthday, so how many people in your town, furniture stores in your town, are advertising? They're selling fun, Dale, exactly right. So if I needed furniture, where's the first place I'm going to go? To bring people in, exactly. So if I need furniture, guess the first place I'm going to go is that furniture store. Because first of all, I probably have to drag children along, right? So I have a way to bring them to something that they're going to enjoy instead of fighting me the whole time and being horrible the whole time because they don't want to be there. So here, and I've told this story over and over and over again about this dentist in Australia. His name is Paddy. This guy built a full-blown Italian bistro in his lobby. So he ended up buying a building. He's got a full-blown Italian bistro in there, and he does all sorts of other things besides that. But this guy, by doing everything, I think he has foot massages for the people who come in. He's got this Italian bistro with this espresso machine. He's got movies in every single room. So, and if you think about it, how much does a DVD player cost? So he's got probably like $70 per room for DVD for movies. I mean, so he's got all these things going which have nothing to do with dentistry. With nothing to do with dentistry. But here's the fact. His building has no sign on it. His building does not advertise that he's a dentist. Now, how many dentists do you know that don't have a big sign up front saying Lakeside Dentistry or Against Dentistry or whatever? This guy's building does not even have a sign on it. You know why? Why do you think his building doesn't have a sign on it? Oh, by the way, his pricing for his dentistry is about, I think they said last count was like 80% higher for the exact same procedures as any other dentist in his town. 80% higher. So why do you think he doesn't have a sign on his store? Yeah, he's super successful. He's got a waiting list. He can't take any more clients. He's got a waiting list 2 years deep. He can't even take any more clients. And by doing what? Things that have nothing to do with dentistry. Just like Jordan's Furniture did things that had nothing to do with furniture. So what do you think my point is here? What do you think my point I'm about to make for the rest of the hour is? Well, Al says, you know, the reason Paddy's successful is he's got people waiting in line for that experience. You're right. We're talking about experiential marketing, Al. And if you're not doing it, you're going to be struggling. Because if you're going to try to tell everybody that you have better service, good luck to you. If you're going to try to tell everybody that you have better, that you're smarter when it comes to IRAs, good luck to you. They're not going to believe you. Why do they want to come in and see the same thing everybody else is saying? So Bill's saying do things that have nothing to do with investing. I agree. That's exactly what my point is, Bill. So, and that's, you know, the one thing you can do, the trip, why is the trip important to you guys? Guys, why is the trip important? Why is the trip important? Why should you be out showing the trip? No one has seen it, Casey. Exactly right. So at least then I'm not trying to say I'm better. At least I'm showing things that they've never seen before. So that's, I mean, and that's on this on the side. That's not experiential marketing. But if you're going to go straight out and be a financial advisor, you better be selling things nobody else has. I've given that to you in Trip. But if you don't want to be out there talking to people about Trip, then you sure in the heck better be out there or creating something that's very experiential for your clients. See, 86% of adults say they will pay more for a better customer experience. Think about how Starbucks coffee has capitalized on that. When they came out, they were charging not double, they were charging 10 times more for coffee than everybody else is paying. Why did people do that? Yeah, so Al's saying they don't have the best coffee, but they have the best experience, the aroma, the music, the coolness factor. I mean, again, they're losing a lot of that, but when they first came out, that was a huge thing. So a lot of people would say, well, that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't make any money doing the kind of stuff I'm going to show you today. So I've shown this to people. I think once a year I show this to you. Once a year I show this to you, and slowly but surely people the people who work with me start to do it. But only about 10% of advisors are doing the stuff I'm going to show you today, even though they've heard it over and over from me. And when I ask them why not, they say, because I don't make any money doing that. Well, guys, guess what? Jordan's doesn't make any money having a jelly bean sculpture and an ice cream shop that basically is at cost, or a trapeze school. So Patty's makes no money by having an Italian bistro and movies in every room and foot massages. Or do they? I'd say Patty's making an awful lot of money by doing those things. And I'll tell you that what I did with my practice, I made all my money by doing everything for free. I mean, all the stuff that I made, all the money I made was because I was doing all sorts of things for free. And you got to be thinking outside the box in order to create an environment that people want to come and work with you. Because traditional marketing, what we're doing is feature advantage and benefits, where customers are viewed as a rational decision makers. And guys, if you still think after the years you've been in business that customers are rational decision makers, you are crazy. You're going to be poor for the rest of your life if you think customers are rational decision makers. And traditional marketing has methods and tools that are analytical and quantitative. Well, look, my mutual fund does perform better. Look, that's quantitative. That's analytical. We all know that guy across town where we scratch our heads. This guy is making all sorts of money, and we've seen the kind of work he does. Every single one of his clients invests in the same mutual fund or the same variable annuity. He does no work whatsoever for his clients. We scratch our heads. How the heck can he be so successful? It's because everybody loves him. And why does everybody love him? Because he makes them feel special when they come in the room. Not because he's good at financial advice, because he's not. He's an idiot. Most often, these guys are idiots. But what they're not an idiot at is making people feel welcome and comfortable and a pleasure to come in. And it's not that hard to do, guys. See, new marketing is experiential. Red Bull does it. What is this? The ice crash, or that guy that jumped 27 miles free fall, or all of the other contests that Red Bull had. What does that have to do with energy drinks? Nothing. But people who associate thrills and excitement and being on the edge with Red Bull. And this guy went from zero to unbelievably successful by doing this. Zappos, Chuck E. Cheese. What is all these animatronics, which I think they've gotten rid of now, but what is all that crap they have in their lobby and the noise and everything else have to do with pizza? It's kids love it. That's what it has to do with pizza. Ed DeBevick's. If you ever go to Chicago, you need to go to Ed DeBevick's, and it's a huge restaurant, and they're known for their staff. Well, not only dancing on the counters and things, but more importantly, the staff insults you the whole time you're there. You go there for the staff to insult you. And you know what? For the food, you're way overpaying for the food, but you go there for what? The experience. Delta, American Express card, travel clubs at local banks. Think about the local banks. I don't know if your local banks do it, but I have had so many clients refuse to leave their local bank because the local bank has bus tours once a month. And these bus tours are to rinky-dink places 15 miles, 30 miles from where we're at today, looking at things you would never think to go drive to look at. But it's the experience. They make them feel special. They know their name. They go to restaurants. They say, hey, Mildred, thanks for coming today. Hey, Bertha, thanks for coming. They make them feel special. It has nothing to do with the banking, and these clients will never leave the bank because of how special they feel. Even though the bank is paying them no interest, is charging them fees out their ears, they will not leave that bank for nothing because of the experience they're getting. So how much of that stuff are you doing with your clients? See, traditional branding, look at this. Traditional branding costs huge amounts of money. If you want to start a radio show, you're going to have to do a radio show for at least 2 years before you'll have any success whatsoever. So you're talking about investing $60,000 in a radio show. if you're starting from scratch. Now, if you're lucky enough to inherit a radio show, you can have success. But if you're starting a radio show, you're talking about $60,000 minimum before you're going to see 1 cent back. That's a lot of money. Even with the seminar, you're talking about investing $5,000 out front before you see any back. Experiential branding can be very, very cheap. Brand identifier, experience provider. Brand identifier, that's what takes millions of dollars to create your brand. Anybody that's talking to any of us about creating a brand is out to fleece you. Because how much money does it take to build a brand? How much money does it take for McDonald's to build a brand, or Coke? We're talking brand identifier. Building a brand costs millions of dollars, not thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. But if you provide experience, that can be branded very, very quickly. Logos are worthless. Events are huge. If you run well, we'll talk about this. I won't get into the kind of events you can do. But events you can become famous for an event almost in one day. Logos take years and years before people recognize them. And again, millions of dollars. Image awareness versus sensory awareness. Again, your image versus people's senses. Letting people experience things with their senses is going to be far more powerful, cheaper, and rememberable than trying to build your own image awareness with commercials or logos or brochures. Do you get that? Because if you get it, you know what? How many people in this industry do you think get it? Because how many people in this industry are spending all their time and efforts on this versus zero time or effort on this? So you need to be spending your time on this. So which is more effective? Spending a lot of money on your office place, becoming a master of mutual funds or IRAs or whatever, claiming that you're best at the retirement planning or IRA planning or whatever. Is that the best thing that is more effective? Or is providing, this is an example of one of the things we do, where the Academy Awards. We just went through the Academy Awards. We have a system, or a little system where you can do Academy Award dinner for your clients or prospects. So you rent out a theater, which is not that expensive, and you have the red carpet, and you do the whole thing. You could actually have the press come out to shoot your little Academy Awards thing for free advertisement. You ever thought about doing something like that? I mean, we have a system like that. Guess how many advisors I've had do that? Even I promoted it. I've had 2 advisors do it, both wildly successful. But you think, well, what does that have to do with financial advice? Guys, it's branding yourself. It's giving people an experience they want to be around you. If people want to be around you, you're going to get their business. Baking, we're going to talk about this, baking cookies, having bus tours. So we're going to talk about these things. So, and I want to bring up, I've talked about Fred, I think, about a month ago. Fred is my hero. He's one of the people that I coach, and when I give an idea, he doesn't just think about it and then get off and move on. He does it. So he took my suggestion about a golf clinic, and he's doing a golf clinic next summer. And then not only is he doing my golf clinic, he's actually created a tennis clinic as well, his own tennis clinic. So the fact is that, and what does golf clinics or tennis clinics have to do with financial advice? Nothing. Or do they? Because what is everybody at the golf clinic going to know? What you do, who you are, and do they want to be invited to the next golf clinic? Absolutely. So guess what they know? Eventually they're going to have to do business with you. Same thing with the tennis clinic. Again, these things have nothing to do with finances, but they have everything to do with building your business. Who put it on? He put it on. Guys, he's putting on the golf clinic. He's putting on the tennis clinic. How hard do you think it is to find a golf pro or golf course to do this, guys? In today's environment, in today's economy, how hard do you think it is to find a golf pro or a golf range to work with you to put one of these things on? Not hard at all. They're struggling. Same thing with tennis clinics. So nothing to do with finances, but everything to do with building your business. So there are lots of things you can do. We have lots of systems, and we share those with you once a quarter on how you can do these things. And the quarterly events that we give you have nothing to do with finances, but they have everything to do with building your business. But today I want to talk about and twist your arm to, again, use our WOW system. For those of you that are 5Q clients, we have it on the system, so by paint by numbers, so you can do this. But just by listening today, those of you who are not on the 5Q system, you can at least listen today and implement them based on the information we give you. So WOW is creating an office environment for about $250, investing $250 in your office that will give your clients an unbelievable experience that they'll tell everybody about. That's what I want to talk about today. So there are lots of other things we do, and I'll talk about those things on an occasional basis, like the bus tours that we do give you a paint-by-number system for, the golf clinics, the ideas and those kind of things. We'll give you those too on a regular basis. But today I want to talk about the wow experience in your office, where you can use that every single time you see a prospect and every time single time you see a client. And it'll give them an unbelievable experience for very little cost. See, the sales success mantra is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And in fact, for prospects, how much you know actually frightens them. Why would it for prospects, why would the fact that how much you know actually frighten them, guys? Because most advisors think, these prospects want to know how much I know. Yeah, that's why I tell them about all my certifications, and I have all these little letters behind my name, and I'm constantly telling them how smart I am and the schools I go to and blah, 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 blah. Guys, prospects, exactly, Casey, it intimidates them. You can cheat them, Fred, exactly right. If you know more than them, that means you can cheat them. But if you care about them, will you cheat them? See, they know all of us advisors are smarter than them. They know the dumbest one of us is smarter than the smartest one of them. They know that. So we don't have to tell them we're smarter. What they're actually looking, because that scares them, what they're actually looking for is somebody who actually cares. Because if they can find that person who cares, they know they're smarter than them, so it's going to be helpful. But they also know that if they care, they're not going to screw them or cheat them, as Fred says. Do you get that? Yet how many advisors spend how much time trying to convince prospects that they're what? Why do you think some of these dumbasses walk around with 4 sets of letters behind their names? CHLC, CFP. Guys, I had all those letters too. Do you think I put them behind my name? No. Why? They don't give a rat's. You know who cares about the letters behind your name, guys? There's only one person that cares about the letters behind your name, and guess who that is? Sure the heck ain't your prospect. It's you. They don't care about those things. They care about how you treat them, period. See, Starbucks gets it right. When their CEO said, we're not in the coffee business, we're in the people business. We just serve coffee. Do you get that? You're not in the financial business, guys. You are in the people business. You just happen to offer financial services. You got to be different. How do you give your clients a different experience than your competitors give them? Do you outspend them? Do you try to get a even more expensive desk or better marble on the floor? Or how do you do that? How do you give your clients a better experience than your competitors give them? See, there's a better and cheaper way to show them you care. First step is walk around. What does your clients see when they visit you? The building and parking lot. Is everything signed easy? Is it easy for them to find you? Is it clean? Are there hurdles to them getting in the door? Is it the landscaping? So this stuff, yeah, it does pay to have a nicer place when you're talking about this stuff. It's just the first step, though. This is just the first step, because this is not going to, you cannot buy expensive enough marble to impress them. And unfortunately, if you buy expensive marble on the floor, then what do they think? Most clients think then what? That you're fleecing them to put the marble on the floor. So, what you want is it's easily signed, it's clean, the landscaping is nice. What grade do you give your building? And I don't want an A+ building. I want an A or a B building. That's what I want. But what about now we get into your office? This, though, is where really the road starts to hit or the rubber starts to hit the road. What about your reception area? Is it easy to find? Do you have a friendly receptionist? You got to pay. If you got to pay for a friendly receptionist, then pay for a friendly receptionist. How's it decorated? What's the reading material you have? And we're going to walk through my recommendations of all of these things here in a second. So with the WOW system, and again, if you're not on the full 5Q system, at least take some of the ideas that I talk about here and use them. If you're on the 5Q system, this is all right there. Add a welcome sign. What do I mean by a welcome sign? Have a sign, whether it's a little marquee out front in front of your office, or at least on the reception area when they walk in that says what? Welcome, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It costs you nothing to do that. So either have a marquee out there or even just put up paper signs that have that, but say, welcome Mr. and Mrs. Smith when they come in. You don't think that makes a lot of difference, but it makes a huge, if you've ever experienced that, you'll know how big an impact that has on you. If you've ever been in a situation where where your name is on the marquee when you walk into a place, you will understand how huge an impact it is. And how much does it cost us to do that, guys? Nothing. I mean, a marquee, you can get it at Sam's Club or Costco, I think, for like $15. A paper card with their name on there that you slide into a holder costs you what? 2 cents. Guys, it has a huge impact. Are y'all doing it? Oh, no, it kind of takes too much time, and I don't know, you know, blah, blah. Shh, guys, this is huge. When they come in, make sure your reception says, "Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Smith." So you got a sign, and then they're greeted by name, not, "Hi, can we help you?" Guys, what's the difference between somebody saying, "Hi, can we help you?" and somebody saying, "Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Smith"? Yeah, Peter's saying you can also do a reserved parking sign. Absolutely you can do a reserved parking sign for them. That's huge. You know, there are advisors that actually have car washes that come out and give their clients car washes right in the parking lot while they're in seeing them. What does a car wash have to do with getting a new client? What does a reserved parking spot have to do with getting a new client? It has everything to do with getting a client. It has nothing to do with finances, but everything with getting them as a client. And guys, how much does it cost to train your staff to address them as, "Hi, Mr. and Smith," when they walk in, instead of, "Hi, can I help you?" And again, with my receptionist, I had to struggle with her because she didn't want to do this. She goes, "Well, I don't know if it's Mr. and Mrs. Smith." And I finally said, "Listen, if Mr. and Mrs. Smith are supposed to be here at 10 o'clock, can we assume if somebody arrives 10 to 10 or 10 after 10, during that 20-minute period, anybody that arrives during that period has a 99% chance of being Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And if they're not, how much damage are you doing if you call them Mr. and Mrs. Smith? None. Call them by name, guys. Not you, your staff. Do you get how important that is? Bake cookies. So we have a toaster oven here in the office. It costs us, I don't know what, probably $30. And then you just go to the grocery store or and get the frozen cookies, and you just put 4 or 5 of them on a tray and put them in the little pizza oven. Presto! 9 minutes later, you have baked cookies. And also, what does your office smell like? It smells unbelievable. What do realtors tell you you're supposed to do when you're selling your house? Be baking cookies. I tell you what, when they walk into your office, every time they walk into your office and they smell baked cookies, they're gonna. Guys, do you realize that smell is one of the most memory-inducing type of senses that we have? Have baked cookies. If they're diabetics, they still appreciate the smell. Or get diabetic cookies then. They smell just as good. But guys will come up with all sorts of reasons why they can't do this. Guys, it's a $30 investment in a toaster oven. It's probably a total of $7 invested for the whole week in cookies for your clients. Do this. What does this have to do with finances? Nothing. It has everything to do with people having an unbelievable experience in your office. Every time they come, you have warm cookies. In fact, there's hotels that do this. And the hotels that do this have unbelievable response. They've documented with research that hotels that have warm baked cookies for every time somebody stays in their hotel, these are premium hotels. These are hotels that charge a lot of money to stay there. And what does baked cookies have to do with staying in a hotel? Everything. It makes it feel like home. Don't you want your clients to have your office feel like it feels like home? Do you get this, guys? Norm. I mean, if you've ever been to a bar or restaurant where they know what you drink when you walk in the door, I mean, when Norm came in, they knew what he wanted. Boom, they just handed it to him. They didn't ask him what he wanted. Have you ever been to a restaurant or a bar where they knew what you drank or they knew what you eat? It makes you feel unbelievable. And guess where we want to spend time, guys? In places that make us feel unbelievable. Do you want your clients to feel like that you make them feel unbelievable? When will they leave you? When will they refer to you? Prospects. When will they want to move to you if you make them feel unbelievable, and we know their guy doesn't make them feel unbelievable? So why not have a Keurig or a Senseo or a Tassimo, one of those one cup coffee makers, and when they come in, have your staff give them a menu of what they can have. So when they choose here, super, your staff gives that to them. But then guess what your staff does with this menu card, guys? So the first time is okay because you're going to give them the menu and they go, oh, this is awesome, this is cool, and they choose they make their choice, and then they get their preferred drink, and they get their warm cookies, and they think, wow, this is awesome. But I tell you what, here's where you save it, Dale. Why? Why, Dale? Why would you want to save it? Keep it on file so it can be repeated, Fred. Make a note so it's ready the next time. Exactly, Al. So when they come in, you'd say, hey, would you like the Earl Grey like you had last time? Wow. How does that make them feel? They feel they've never been treated that way. Tell me, please tell me, where have they been treated that way before? Where have they been treated that way before? And it has nothing, I understand, guys, it has nothing to do with financial, but again, we need the business, not the finances. We need the business. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And how much does this show how much you care? Where have they been treated like this before? This is the place you're going to want to come back to. This is the place you're going to tell people. And guys, if you go to a restaurant and you have good service, do you brag about it to all your friends, your neighbors? The only time you brag about a restaurant is when what happens? Wow, we came in there and wow, it was unbelievable. The whole staff came up and said hi. I mean, you only brag about the restaurant when you have unbelievable service or unbelievable food. Well, I'm sorry, but we don't have unbelievable investments. So the only thing we're going to get people to brag about us is unbelievable service. Okay? And why? Because when they brag about unbelievable service, they know that their friend's advisor is not doing these things. I mean, whether it's a reserved parking place, washing their car for them while they're visiting you, having this menu with the drinks, the warm cookies, their name up front every single time they come in. These are little things, but they're not. They're huge things. You can also have a bottled water with your own brand on it that you send them home with every single time. You can get, it's not very expensive at all. www.bottleyourbrand, there's a gazillion places that offer it. It's not that expensive. And reading material. What kind of reading material are you going to have in your office, guys? What kind of reading material are you going to have in your office? If you have any magazines, what had the magazines better be about? If you have any magazines, let me see some people type this in. What do those magazines better be about if you have magazines? And advisors make this mistake all the time. Dreams, fun stuff, everything but investing. Yes, you guys got it. So you should have no Forbes, Fortune, Money, Smart Money, Wall Street Journal, none of that crap in your office. You want gardening magazines, travel magazines, leisure magazines, golf magazines. That's what you want in your office place. But the one piece of reading material that I have, and again, you cannot do this if you're an RIA, but if you're a registered rep or an insurance agent, you darn well better be doing this. I had a huge book on my coffee table, and guess what that book was full of? What do you think that book is full of? Again, RIAs cannot do this, but registered reps can do this and insurance agents can do this. What is that book full of? Testimonials, exactly. Testimonials. I had over 150 testimonials, so guess what they pick up? They look at that, and then all these people saying how great I am. That's the reading material I had. I didn't have any magazines. If they wanted to read anything, they were reading my testimonials, period. Now, the guys that are out there saying RIA, that I'm an RIA, I can't do that. Well, I tell you what, there's an even better way to have testimonials than actually written testimonials, and that's this. A collage. And I had a barbecue every single summer. And guess what my staff was doing, Missy and everybody else was doing, besides putting on a wonderful barbecue, they had cameras, and guess what they were doing during the whole barbecue? Picture upon picture upon picture, 100 pictures. We actually even handed out portable cameras for the people to take pictures. And then I bought a frame, and then I put a collage of all the people having a great time there. So in the end, I had 5 or 4 or 5, I can't remember, big, huge frames with all sorts of people having a great time. So the only art I had in my office was people, my clients, having a wonderful time around me. And inevitably, guess what new people came in and looked at when they came in? They sat down, and then they saw all these pictures, and then they got up and they started wandering around the sitting area looking at all these pictures. And inevitably, guess what who they found? Lots of people that they knew, and all those people had what on their faces? Huge smiles. So even if you're an RIA, guess what you can... Guys, is this a testimonial? Is this a testimonial? People with huge smiles allowing you to put their faces up on the wall. That's the best testimony of all. So if you got any art whatsoever, that should only be there until you fill your walls up with collages of all your... and guys, when I say a collage, it's all over. Do I line them up like the car salesman in direct order? 1, 2, 3 of all my victims. No, it's a collage. It's like slapping a bunch of pictures up there, all haphazard. If you put them in order, it makes you it's like you look like you're lining up your victims. No, it's a big party. You get that? If you do not have this going on in your office, you're crazy. You know what? The sale is made before they walk into my office when they see this. What do you think? And Missy, you can chirp in here. My office was in Insurance Row above an orthodontist. When I was making $1 million a year, my office was in Insurance Row above, and what I mean by Insurance Row is there's an orthodontist office. On the second floor, there was an Allstate, a Farmers Insurance, an Allstate Insurance, some other investment guy, and then my office. And my office had white walls. My furniture was rattan furniture from Pier 1 with those cheap cushions that you put on there. I had a glass or a glass coffee table that probably cost me $100. So my furnishings in my building was clean. It was nice, but it was Spartan compared to a bank or a Merrill Lynch. It was Spartan industrial carpeting. So it was clean and everything. But white walls, rattan furniture. Probably had a total of $200 invested in that, $100 in the coffee table. But on my walls were big picture frame after big picture frame of people having a wonderful time. So am I exaggerating, Missy, about how our office looked?
No, it was a pretty plain, pretty basic office.
You know, we had filing cabinets out where people could see them. I mean, it was not a pretty office at all. But guys, did people care? No. They gravitated toward those big collage picture frames with everybody has big smiles on their faces. You need to be doing these things. So that's how my office looked. And then when they came in, I made sure when I greeted them, I stopped and I shook their hands. I had a two-handed handshake. Held it for a second or more longer than what you would normally hold a handshake and looked them in the eye. I let them know they were really welcome where I'm at. And as I go back to my office, I'd always say, hold my calls. Now, guys, my calls were always held. I did not need to say this, but I did say it. Why do you want to say hold my calls? Even though your staff is going to hold your calls, they're not going to interrupt you for a call, but why did I say hold my calls? If we go all the way back to with Peter's great idea of having a reserved parking spot for them with their name on it, and then you have their name on the door, and they're greeted by name, and then they're looking around all these happy people. They smell warm cookies. They've been asked about a beverage. I come out and warmly greet them with our handshake a little bit longer than normal, and then as walking back, I say, hey, Judy, would you mind holding all my calls? How do these people feel? When is the last time that they've been treated like this? Think about how they're treated when they go to the doctor. Think about how they're treated when they go to the dentist. Think about how they're treated when they go to a restaurant. Does anybody even come close to treating them like this? And how much money have I spent so far? $7 on cookies, $30 for an oven, a cookie oven. I don't know what it would cost to have a reserved parking spot for them, but maybe that would be some money. But the marquee is $14. How much am I spending so far, guys? Diddly-do. Here's another idea. So Al has another idea. Send them a gift basket once they become a client. Yeah, I mean, we do give out gifts. But guys, you can't send out a gift basket until they become a client. Once they become a client, you know, that's not the big thing. I need to do things before they become a client. And these are things that will get them to become a client. And then the one thing I always stress is that then now I've treated them like royalty, but when I get to my office, I've always tells people that there's a button on the client's chairs. And as soon as their behinds hit that button, they can start asking questions. So I never, after I've treated them like royalty, but then once I get to my office, I remain standing until all the small talk is done. We never sit down with small talk. If you sit down with small talk, then what you can lose control of the meeting. So I make sure the small talk is done before I sit down. And once that small talk is done, then on my way down, I ask them that first question before their butt hits the seat, which is, do you mind if I share with you what happens in the next hour or so? Because if I let them sit down and we continue small talk, first of all, I'll lose control of the meeting. Second of all, they'll be able to start, if I lose control of the meeting, they'll be able to start asking all sorts of questions, which means I have to share all my secrets or hide them from them. If I share all my secrets with them, 9 times out of 10, they're going to take it back to their current guy. If I hide my secrets from them, 9 times out of 10, they're going to get angry with me. Not out loud, but in their head say, this guy's withholding information from me and I don't like him. So we do need to treat them like royalty, but once we get in the office, then we remain standing until all the small talk is done, and then on our way down, as our butt's getting ready to hit the seat, before their butt hits the seat, we say, can we share with you what happens for the next hour or so? And now the person who asks questions is in control. So I've taken control of the meeting, but I've done it in a very nice manner. It sounds like when I say, would you mind if I share with you what happens next hour or so? What's that say to the clients? It says, oh, this person's polite. Oh, he's not going to do anything that I'm not comfortable with. Oh, great. I was wondering what was going to happen. He's going to tell me this. So those 3 things happen with this kind little question, but really what I'm doing is taking control of the meeting. So I want their experience to be unbelievable up to the point where their butts are heading towards the seats, but at that point, then I take control of the meeting, still by being courteous, but I am, at that point, I'm going to be treating them as a client. They are, and why can I do that? Because of how I've treated them all the way up to that point. Does that make sense? So we've got, and again, if you're a full-fledged 5Q member, we've got the whole book on how to do this. We've had it for 7 years, but again, only about 10% of guys ever implement it, which is crazy. So please do that. If you're not a full 5Q fledged 5Q member, I hope you got some ideas that you can actually use to, and I hope more importantly than just these ideas that you understand that being a financial advisor is not enough today. Being a dentist is not enough today. Being a furniture is not enough today. If you want to be highly successful, you better be different. And unfortunately, we offer commodities. Dentists, advisors, and furniture stores all offer the same thing as everybody else does. At least with furniture stores, they can put their stuff on sale, but because everybody puts their stuff on the sale, they can't even do that anymore. But we can't even put our stuff on sale. So the only thing we can possibly do is to make ourselves look different by doing things that have nothing to do with finances. And you need to be thinking about that constantly. How can I make my clients feel more special? And rarely is it going to have anything to do with finances. Do you get that, guys? So please take this idea and implement it. If you want to become huge, you're going to become huge not by being a better financial advisor. You're going to become huge by providing an unbelievable experience for your clients and your prospects, and it has nothing to do with the finances. Do you get that, guys? So that's the call for today. Any questions, concerns, or things you want to talk about before I let you go, guys? Awesome. Either I did a very bad job or a good job. I don't see any questions. Do you, Missy?
Nope, no questions have come in.
Okay, super. Okay, super. Everybody have a thank you. Everybody's saying great. Thanks. I appreciate that, and I hope you all have a great week, and we will talk to you next Monday. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.